taking us. And something is going wrong with boys in school. And the interesting thing about it, a couple of interesting things, is nobody really knows why, and nobody really knows the solution.
What things are like in school, because I was just struck by the data. Dropouts are far more likely to be male. This is correct?
Sure. Yes.
There are gender gaps in writing tests. Let's talk about how bad it is.
37% of 8th grade girls are proficient in writing compared to 18% of boys. And most of the people in this room are college graduates. You know what it takes to succeed in college. You have to read quickly and comprehensively, and you have to write quickly and comprehensively. Boys are not doing that.
Dr. Klass, because you've written about the physical changes, how boys are changing. Talk about that.
Statistically, there are more boys whose bodies are changing earlier than they used to. There's still a huge range and still a lot of things happening at the same old ages, but as with girls, the schools, the parents, the pediatricians, and the children themselves, more of them are having to deal with the issues of early puberty a little earlier than they used to have to.
So things are getting tougher for teachers maybe, and for boys, and maybe for parents as well. Yeah. To educate.
But academically, I'm thinking about his 4th grade division. In the early grades of school, there is such a thing as being a kid who is still working on those literacy skills, and it doesn't mean that you're struggling with everything else in school, but unfortunately, from the 4th grade on, if you're still working on those literacy skills, you may find yourself struggling in all the other areas of school.
Recognize that parents have to be the ultimate accountability here, especially dads. You know, this whole thing about throwing the football with your son and reading to your daughter, that's got to go. And that's what's happened, you know what I mean? It's overemphasis on sports, but boys need to see their fathers reading. And fathers need to read to their sons, and fathers need to show up in schools and so the kids can see them reading.
And if there's no father present, which happens?
Well, that's where you get these volunteer programs of fathers going in and reading, just so the kids see dads reading.
One other thing about reading aloud is that there are some interesting studies in both younger children and older children of the different ways that children react to the different vocal registers in which adults read. And, you know, hearing both the female voice and the male voice reading to you really probably matters a lot. It helps you learn a larger range of cadences for the reading aloud of written language. And when you hear, and I'm talking about children under 5 now, when you hear written language read aloud, that's part of how you figure out how written language works. If I asked you right now whether I'm talking to you or reading to you, close your eyes, you would know. If I were reading aloud, it would sound different. There'd be a bunch of cues you'd recognize. That's part of what you're learning in those early years as part of that early literacy. And one of the things that helps you learn it is the range of vocal registers. So, I mean, when you say fathers reading aloud or men reading aloud, it's modeling, but it's also a whole lot of other cues that you're getting as you figure out how language works, how spoken language works, how written language works, and that'll come back to be useful as you actually learn to decode written language on the page.
Hi, I'm John Merrow. I hope you'll join me this season at the JCC as we continue to explore the issues that matter greatly to children, their families, and their teachers.